Mike Taylor Live is presented by Texas Cheer Liquor. And now, live from San Antonio, Mike Taylor.
Did you really think that the defense was going to hold? Did you really think that? It's just so Cowboys, man. It's just so effing Cowboys, man. On a day in which the defense was terrific, if you ask me, I mean, no one goes into Miami and holds that thing to 22. The Dolphins are a prolific offense in Miami. I think I saw a stat at some point late third where the only time they've been held to under one touchdown all year was, I think, Kansas City. I think they may have lost that game. They just score a hell of a lot of points at home. And on a day in which the Cowboys defense should get a lot of credit for going in there tonight and playing winning football with the game on the line in winning time, what does the defense do? How ironic. How Cowboys. I mean, the defense gets an A- today. And the only reason I give them an A- is because they screwed up the game at the end. So it's an A- on a night which we can't be trusted because we're the Cowboys and we're on the road and the NFL sucks and the referees are horrible. The Cowboys have lost again. They lose 22-20 on a night in which the offense doesn't do jack shiznit all night long until the end. The defense is incredible all night long until the end. And it's a total Cowboys loss tonight. They now have lost 2 games in a row, this big gauntlet stretch where they had to go into Buffalo, into Miami, home for the Lions. They are now 0-2, and the only respite at this point is they're at least at Jerry World next week, where they've kicked everybody's ass at home, but they haven't played anybody worth the shit. Well, these people coming in here this coming week to play the Cowboys on, was it Saturday, isn't it? The Lions, yeah, that's a good football team. They just clinched their first division championship today for the first time since I was an 18-year-old high school senior. In 1993, the Lions win the division this year, first time since then. Gosh, has it been 30 years since I graduated high school? My word. And so there's, again, the Cowboys are most likely not going to win the division. The Eagles play the Giants tomorrow. They'll probably kick their ass. Dallas is going to be a road dog in the wild card round on opening week, and they are not to be trusted to beat anybody. Tampa Bay backdoored its way into the postseason last January with Tom Brady on his very last leg, who willed a terrible Bucs team into the playoffs in the worst division we've seen in 30 years, and it was an 8-9 Tampa Bay team that Dallas went in there and played last January. And I know technically it was a playoff game, but I mean, then you saw what the Cowboys did in San Francisco the next week. Point being, this year, even though that division's still pretty shitty, Tampa Bay's playing pretty good football. They beat the hell out of Jacksonville tonight, and Austin's own Baker Mayfield is all of a sudden playing like the number one overall pick. Do you trust Dallas to go on the road and win a road game in the playoffs? Of course not, no matter who they're playing. It's probably going to wind up being effing Tampa, the way things would shake down. And we'll see. We got 2 more weeks to go. But these people are who we thought they were. And on a night in which, if you were going to overcome this lack of wins on the road bullshit, this was a team to do it against, because the Cowboys and the Dolphins are so very similar, almost mirror images of each other in all kinds of ways, with all the talent they have, where the respective quarterbacks are in the rankings in the NFL on the list, and their inability to beat real good teams. Miami is a similar team in that, well, you haven't beat anybody really good. The only comeback to that is there's not very many good teams in the NFL, but Miami hadn't beaten any of them. Dallas hadn't beaten any of them until they beat the Eagles a few weeks ago, and the Eagles have sucked ever since. But so if you want to give the Cowboys credit for beating the Eagles, okay, good. That's one game where the Dallas Cowboys beat a good team. They've yet to beat anybody worth a damn on the road. And you figured that tonight was going to be the best chance to do that, because Miami's a good team, but Miami is basically you, a quarterback who at times looks like a Pro Bowler, and then at times looks like a ding-dong with bad accuracy. And Tua tonight was not very good. Tua was not better than Dak Prescott in this game, but it was a team loss by the Cowboys and a team win by a Miami team. And at the end of the night, the Dolphins wind up having one more superstar than the Cowboys have, because as good as CD Lamb is, he ain't Tyreek Hill. And Tyreek Hill was sensational coming off missing last week. And especially in winning time. I know Hill probably is still dealing with the tweaked ankle tonight, and he just kind of cruised through the first half of the game. And then what happened in the fourth quarter? And in the third, Tyreek Hill stepped up, and he was the dude that was on pace to break the all-time freaking single-season record for yardage before he got hurt last week. So it's two similar teams, and the only solace that I guess we can take as Cowboy fans is they still kind of are who we thought they were anyway.
Both teams play hard.
And it could not have been any worse than last week. At least we saw significant improvement. We saw a Cowboys team, especially on defense, that came to win this game. I feel bad for the Cowboys defense. Even though they gave up the game-winning field goal drive at the end, they were left hanging out to dry all effing day. They were probably exhausted. Micah Parsons was tongue wagging at the end of the game. They were exhausted. And did you really think they were going to stop Miami? Probably not. No. Had the Cowboys given the defense, had the offense given the defense any more breathing room before the end of the game, maybe the Cowboys defense has what it takes to hold them off or whatever. But typical Cowboys, this is who they are. That was an epic drive that'll be forgotten, the 17-play drive that Dak led. And they were down 19-10 mid-third quarter, and I thought, okay, defense is playing its ass off. Here we are in the middle of the third quarter, and your $40 million franchise quarterback MVP candidate, y'all all tell me,
Dak Prescott sucks.
This would be a good time for him to do something. And so from mid-third quarter on, Dak was good. And unfortunately, it's ironically a 17-play drive that results in the touchdown on the beautiful fade in the corner over Jalen Ramsey to Brandon Cooks. It still wasn't enough, because ironically, you finally get going, you put on an epic drive, and you still wind up scoring too late. Had that been a 19-play drive, then Miami wouldn't have had enough time. And had Damone fucking Clark not face masked on that winning drive by Miami, maybe things are different there, but we can't guarantee that. So Damone Clark deserves to be criticized for the face mask, and it was a personal foul. It clearly was an obvious one. But even if he doesn't do that, don't you figure that Miami still finds a way to penetrate that end zone or to get that kid Sanders close enough? I mean, Miami didn't need to get nearly as far as they got for that kid Sanders, who's really, really good as a kicker. So had Damone Clark not face masked, instead of a 35-yard field goal, it's a 45-yard field goal, and Miami probably wins this game anyway. So the Cowboys remain who we thought they were. They are the worst, best good team. If you take all the good teams in the NFL, and they're good, you're not 10-5 for nothing. And they were 10-3 just 2 weeks ago. The Cowboys are a good team, but of all the good teams, they're probably the worst, best, if that makes sense. And so that's who they are. They're a good team that's going to go nowhere in the postseason because they can't beat good teams on the road, and they don't make the plays that they need to make on the road to beat good teams anyway. And they're just another solid Cowboy team that got a whole lot done during the regular season, and quarterback had an MVP regular season. Stayed pretty healthy, except for tonight. And, of course, Dak was under duress because they had a backup at left tackle because Tyron Smith got hurt in practice this week and couldn't go. But you throw it all in the hat, man, and it is they are who we thought they were. Even if they beat the Lions this coming week, now they got a short week, 6 nights. All I can think of is at least they're going to put Jimmy in the Ring of Honor next week. Yay! That'll be the highlight of my night as an old Cowboy fan. But even if they beat Detroit and even if they beat Washington to close the season and wind up going 12-5, they still are who we thought they are. They're a solid team with a solid quarterback, with a solid coaching staff, not nearly good enough to beat the best teams in the conference, and that's who they are. I'm not at this point. I don't trust this thing to even go into Tampa Bay. And Tampa Bay won't deserve a home game because the NFL has a stupid ass playoff bracket set up. Tampa Bay is going to get rewarded with a freaking home game for winning the shittiest division in football. But the way Tampa Bay's playing right now, I don't trust Dallas to even beat them, especially on the road. All right, this show tonight brought to you in part by the law office of Orlando Kell. That's my boy. The official lawyer of Thunderdome is Orlando Kell. Whether you are facing criminal issues or you need to file a lawsuit against somebody or family law, that is what they specialize in most. The family law office of Orlando Kell is there for you, especially dads and husbands and fathers who need to get things changed in their divorce proceedings, or maybe need to update an old decree that's years old because of new job or age of the kid, or you moved. My guy Orlando Kell's your guy. 210-775-4995. He can also be reached via email. He is orlandokell@gmail.com. All right, look, I'm not going to sit up here and bitch like this for all night long. It's Christmas Eve. We've all got things to do tomorrow. It's not worry about the stupid ass ding dong Cowboys. But I'll finish with this and we'll go through some chats here. On the referees. The referees are never great. There's always bad calls. There's always calls that shouldn't be called. There's always calls that don't get called that should be. Tonight was the worst. And I don't watch all the games in the NFL. I don't have time. I watch all the Cowboys games. I try to catch as many games as I can here and there. I read about all of them. I watch all the highlights. But of all the games I've seen this year, 80% of which have been Cowboy games, well, let's just keep it to the Cowboys games. This tonight was in a big game with superstar players all over the place. This was the worst refereed officiated game that the Cowboys have been involved in this year, and it was not close. From the dog shit roughing the quarterback on both sides, and it cost the Cowboys points, which, by the way, and by the way, There's a million plays in this game, so I'm not going to say it's the reason why they lost. But boy, the dog shit call on Micah Parsons that gave the Dolphins another first down when that should have been a field goal, and it wound up being a touchdown. Dog shit call. No, that was fourth down. I take it back. That was fourth down. Miami wouldn't have had any points there. Miami would have had to have scored a touchdown at the end of that game. And Miami probably scores the touchdown anyway, but it doesn't help because of these ridiculous roughing the passer calls that seem to mar games every effing week. And, Miami got a shitty one too. Dak sold it. It was like Manu Ginobili taking a charge. Dak reaches up and grabs that dude's helmet and pulls the guy into him, and the referee totally bites on it and throws the penalty, throws the flag, because there are rules in the NFL, and I tweeted it out earlier tonight. I tweeted a link to the NFL rule that states that when it comes to roughing the quarterback, they tell their referees, when in doubt, throw the flag. And so it wasn't on that particular referee, the call against Micah. That's against the NFL. The NFL wants quarterback. They want roughing the passer called because they want offense. They want to make it as hard on the defense as ever, and it's just a horseshit call. It's bad for the game. Third leg Greg pointed it out 2 or 3 times tonight. Even Dean Blandino, the former, VP of refereeing in the NFL, who sits up there in the booth with those boys on Fox, he commented on how dumb those calls are. Defenders don't know what to do. There's nothing more Micah Parsons could have done to avoid that call other than don't rush the passer. Just don't fucking rush him. Or half-ass it. Half speed it to him. Half speed to Tua. Micah's so fast that his momentum carried him into Tua, and it wasn't like he hurt Tua. And there is a rule, though, so the rule states if a guy takes more than 2 steps and hits a quarterback, you call the roughing, and that's cool. Micah took barely a step before he hit Tua. That was real bang-bang. But the referee was in doubt, probably didn't have the best of angles, and the rules say, when in doubt, go ahead and call the flag if it looks like it might have been roughing, and the Cowboys got screwed. And so, look, man, this is the NFL. They have never had full-time officiating. They're the only pro league in America that does not employ full-time referees. These guys have other jobs during the week. They've added additional training over the years and shit, but these are part-time employees. Do they even have medical insurance? I'm not even sure if they do. They're all on Obamacare. They're hustling like a podcaster because they're working part-time calling the NFL. The league has never had a legit refereeing system. It's a bunch of lawyers and car salesmen and bodybuilders they bring in, like Ed Hockley's son, to call games. And the NFL has never cared what you think about their referees. They don't give 2 shits about you getting mad. They don't give a shit that third leg Greg said something. If anything, they may send a memo to Fox telling them, tell your boy Greg Olson to cool it with a criticism of us. That's how we want the game called. So, and it happens every week. It happened to Dallas tonight. And did it cost them the game? Maybe. But at the end of the night, we still talk about the Cowboys. And if there's no call on Micah, do you really think the Cowboys defense holds anyway? Miami just would have scored 7, not 3. Show also brought to you in part by Texas Cheer Liquor, the official liquor store of Thunderdome. Is Texas Cheer, the presenting title sponsor of Mike Taylor Live. There are 9 stores all over the greater San Antonio area. So no matter where you live, there's one near you. If you didn't go get your stuff, you got time. They're open until 9 o'clock. Oh, I take it back. It's Sunday. Oh, yeah, we live in Texas. Too late. Well, you got plenty of time for New Year's, all right? New Year's is in a week. You got all week long, starting Tuesday through Saturday night at 9 o'clock to go get all your liquor. Whatever you need for your New Year's party time this coming week, go get your ass over there to one of these Texas Cheer Liquors, the official liquor store of us. Drew Show, what's up, baby? Thank you for the $2. Hey, Taylor, cool sweater. Thank you, man. This is a friend sweater, Central Park. This is Nina's. Ryan, can't say it changes the outcome, but the fumble on the goal line first drive was brutal. Yeah, just fucking brutal. Which again, okay, you draft this white kid, Taylor. What the fuck's his name? Lupke. White boy. He played at like North Dakota State or some shit. He was an All-American on Division 5 level. Okay, fine. They felt like they had a diamond in the rough with this Lupke all year long. He hadn't played it down hardly at all. He only had 6 touches all season, and you make him the focus of your opening drive. But then you go many fumbles and you don't play him and you don't give him the ball again. Fuck we doing? In the most brutal game of the year, with your season on the brink, with a chance to maybe win the division still, and hell, maybe get home field advantage. That was still in play at the beginning of the game. You decide to give it to the white kid from one of the directional states 4 times? What are you doing? Okay, maybe they feel like he's gotten better and he's a bit of a secret weapon and they decided to go ahead and unleash him tonight. Okay, that's fine. Then why go away from him because he fumbled? So is he not any good? Because he fumbles, you don't play him the rest of the night. The whole Lupke thing makes no sense. Why you focused on him and then why'd you go away from him? You quit on him because he fumbles? That ain't no way to get his confidence back. So you wasted everybody's time playing him at all is what you did. Roderick, these refs make $200,000 a season. By the way, what is a full-time ref? Don't have another job. Work on refereeing all week. Stay in tip-top shape. Pass different. I mean, they've got different rules. They've added rules to the referees, but they're not full-time guys. They don't spend all week refereeing. These guys show up they work 2 or 3 days a week. They fly to the city. They go over rules and shit. They go over the 2 teams. They go over what they got to do. They talk to their crew and they call a game. And on Monday they're back at their day job. I just don't feel like, Roderick, that these guys are paying enough attention to the profession like they should, because they all have other gigs. And that's fine. You make $200,000, but they're $200,000 part-time employees. And whether or not they're trained or not, we can get into the semantics of how much more training they need. It's been dog shit, and it does not get any better. Refereeing overall in the NFL is shitty every year by comparison to all the other leagues. Fuck, tennis literally has AI that referees its games. Those chair umpires that sit in the middle of tennis courts, they don't call as much shit as they used to. They literally have a computer determine if the ball was out or not. And the NFL can't do anything similar to that, or not even close to that. We're still going to have 60-year-old men run up and down a field. They have replay, but you get punished if you throw the red flag. You only get two a half or 3 a game. That's the other thing. You only get 3 replay calls. And if you challenge and you lose one, you lose a timeout, fine. But if I challenge and I win one, I shouldn't have to burn that challenge. Refereeing in the NFL is not any good. And tonight it was the worst it's ever been. That is the bottom line, man. That's the bottom line. Big Al, Eagles going to take a full 1-game lead on Dallas tomorrow. Yeah, the division's over. The Eagles are going to win out. They're playing the Giants. And the Cowboys will probably get beat again because they're playing another good team. Jeez. All right. That's it. I'm not going to sit up here and keep y'all all night. We'll end with Chris. Typical Cowboys meltdown in December. I don't know why anybody expects anything different for the last 30-plus years. It's going to be this way, whether it's Romo, the defense, same story, different verse. And we'll end on that. The Cowboys are not worth y'all getting too more pissed off about. Tomorrow's Jesus' birthday. It is Christmas. Hey, man, Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. We're off tomorrow for Mike Taylor Live, obviously. Back in here at 10 a.m. on Tuesday. That's it. Thank you to Orlando Kell. Thank you to Texas Cheer. Thank you, Thunderdome. Cowboys and Lions Saturday night. We'll do this again after that game. That'll be the last home game of the year. I may just do 30 minutes on Jimmy Johnson since he's getting into the Ring of Honor. That's it. We're done. Thank you to DJ LG. Back Tuesday, Mike Taylor Live at 10 a.m. Cowboys 20, Miami 22. Uh-oh. They are who we thought they were. We'll do this again 10 a.m. Tuesday. See you boys then. Love you hard. Bye.
Oh, come back, you puppy!
Mike Taylor Live is presented by Texas Cheer Liquor.
This program was made possible by contributions from viewers and listeners like you. Thank you.
and boom goes the dynamite.
This is a Bronx-bound